Health Issues. I'm your host, Hesham Tillawi. Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, it was Memorial Day. As most of you have remembered those who died for our country. 10 of our people died in Iraq on Memorial Day. One of the commentators on the news said this was the deadliest month in the whole year. I remember them saying the same thing last month. 6 months ago, ladies and gentlemen, we elected a Congress. We gave the Democrats control of the House and the Senate. You spoke. The people spoke. You wanted to end this war, and you wanted to end it now. After all of us understand now that this war is not ours. We have no business of being in Iraq. As you remembered, some of those who had fallen in this senseless war probably mainly with barbecues, backyard barbecues, and probably tons of beer. We need to remember that there are families out there who could not do what you have done because Memorial Day this year meant something else to them or for them. Some of those who lost their parents, they lost their husbands, they lost their wives, lost their fathers, lost their sons. Memorial Day was a totally different experience for them. Our Democrats, ladies and gentlemen, said that they will stop the war, but instead we see them going along with the president by approving another $120 billion for the next 6 months. They lied to us again and again. It does not really matter if it's Republicans or Democrats. They are playing the politics game. Cutting off funds for the war is not putting our people in harm's way. Bringing them back is what we need to do. Leaving them in harm's way, doesn't matter how much we spend, they will be in harm's way. This is the time that you need to rise up. It is not up to the Democrats and the Republicans anymore. It's up to you to stop this war. Cindy Sheehan, she left the game. Yesterday, she decided to go home and hang up her hammer. She said it doesn't matter. Her son died in vain. Her son, that's what she said, he died for nothing. As the more than 3,400 others died for nothing. A couple of days ago, there was a meeting in Baghdad between the Iranians and the Americans. There is talk out there to have the Iranians train the Iraqi army. Scary thoughts. The United States is changing its policy towards Iran and towards Syria, which is good, but we're doing it for the wrong reasons. What we need to do is pack up and leave and let the people over there take care of their problem that we created for them. We've got to bring, there's no solution. We cannot help these people as long as our military is in Iraq. We cannot. Democrats, Republicans, doesn't matter. The Democrats have bent down to the pressure that was put on them. And George Bush wins again. Where is Nancy Pelosi? Where's Hillary Clinton? Where's Barack Obama? Where's John Kerry? Cutting funds to the war is not putting our people in harm's way. Cutting funds to the war will bring our men and women back home. That's what it will do. In the first hour, ladies and gentlemen, we will be discussing issues not related to Iraq and the war in a way. We will be speaking with Khalid Amara. He is a former Al Jazeera correspondent in Palestine, Al Jazeera Net. He's a political writer who wrote many articles that was published on Al Jazeera Net. And then finally, Khalid Amara had to leave Al Jazeera Net because he found out things that most people don't know, that unfortunately Al Jazeera is also, especially Al Jazeera in English and Al Jazeera Net, is being run by pro-Israel Zionists. Now, do we have him on? Let me know when we have him on. We do have him on. Okay. He's not on yet. Okay. Just let me know as soon as we get him on. Let me know. Okay. In the second hour, ladies and gentlemen, we will be speaking, just me and you. We will be talking about a new directive that the President George Bush had signed back on May 9th. That new directive very much tells the story of what we've been trying to tell you for a long time, that we are headed towards a fascist, dictatorial regime. The new presidential directive, ladies and gentlemen, it says that in case of, and we're going to go in details in the second hour, it says that in case of a catastrophic event, all powers will be in the hand of the president. That is legislative powers and judicial powers. That's very much like a monarchy. That's very much like a dictatorship where all powers are in the hand of one person. That's what the president had signed on May 9th, that the mainstream media did not mention much. Probably some of you might have seen something about it on C-SPAN. I'm not really sure if any of the mainstream media have talked about it or even covered it. We did not see anyone in Congress putting up a fight. And that's what we have now. In case of a catastrophic event, and they have defined what a catastrophic event, any incident that will result in mass loss of life. Of course, they did not define what mass loss of life is. Probably what happened on September 11th could be considered mass loss of life, or what happened in Oklahoma City could be considered mass loss of life. So all we are waiting for is a false flag operation to put this country in the hands of a dictatorship. Once that happens, all powers, including state and local, will be consolidated in the federal power. It will be run out of the White House. This is what happened on May 9th of this year, and the president had signed it. Okay. Are we having a problem getting hold of him? What is the problem? Are we dialing the right numbers? We're trying to get hold of him. He is in Palestine, in Hebron. Just make sure we dial in the right codes. What are they telling you? Are they dialing the 011? Okay. Okay, well, that's a problem. Do we have someone on the phone? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome your phone calls. Looks like we have a problem getting hold of Khalid Amara. We will continue. Yeah, open line, exactly. We'll have open line. Whatever you want to talk about, we will talk about. And we can talk about what is going on in Lebanon. That's a nice deal, what is going on there. And, you know, I don't want to go into what Khalid was going to go into, because just in case if we do get him on, I'm not really sure, because I talked to him earlier and he should be waiting for us, so I'm not really sure why we have him from getting hold of him. We have two numbers. I probably need to dial the phone myself. Okay, looks like we're getting some phone calls. There's so many subjects that I would like to get into, but this kind of puts a monkey wrench on. We don't want to start something and we can't finish. Well, maybe we can. Let's see. There's the Cindy Sheehan thing. Okay. Who's that? Rick? All right. That looks like on 2, not on 1. All right. Let's go with Rick. Go ahead, Rick.
How you doing, Doctor? I just want to ask you a quick question.
Sure.
I've never heard you speak about the Druze, and they seem to play a very important part over there in the history, and may be playing a part in Lebanon and Israel right now. And I just wanted to know why you never spoke about that. And
I really never spoke about anyone in particular in Lebanon, because there are so many different factions, and the Druze historically have been nationalists, and the Druze, just like anyone else, they will go with wherever they see their best interest would be, and just like the Shiite Muslims, the Sunnis, the Christians. And I mean, if you want to talk about Christians, they're divided there. The Muslims are divided in Lebanon, and we are very much fueling that conflict there. And we will talk about this in more details when we talk about what is going on in Lebanon now with the Palestinians and supposedly the Fatah al-Islam, which is probably the mainstream media have covered some of it.
Well, I think it's important for your listeners to know that the Druze in Israel are obligated to serve time in the Israeli Defense Forces. And, you know, I just think it's an important fact that everyone should know, because I even think there are some announcers on the radio who claim to be Lebanese or claim to be Palestinians that are actually Druze.
Right. Well, the Druze, they are also divided in, like the Druze of Lebanon, they're different than the Druze in Israel. The Druze in Israel, sure, they do serve in the army, while the Muslims and the Christians don't serve in the army. And the Druze in Lebanon, they are nationalists, but again, you might hear a lot of people on the radio. I mean, that's a good comment that you made. Not everyone speaks Arabic, is actually an Arab, or actually pro-Arab. There are a lot of people, not just the Druze, there are a lot of different, I guess, ethnic groups there that would have, they speak Arabic just like anyone over there. Just like in Iraq, you know, you have a lot of people who speak Arabic in Iraq, but they're not really Arabs. You know, they could be Kurds, they could be Persians from Iran, or affiliated with some of the groups there. So I really, you know, at this point, the Lebanese of the Druze in Lebanon are very much Lebanese nationalists and look at Israel as, even though, you know, some of them might not, but the leadership and their policy at least the spoken one, is that they look at Israel as the enemy, not anyone else.
Well, the Druze in Israel, I believe they believe that the Israelis are the God's chosen, and that they are the lost people of the house of Israel.
Not the Druze. The Druze are a totally different sect. They're more. You can see a lot of Islamic teachings in the Druze. They think of themselves as Muslims, and most of their religion, but they are a little bit different. Their particular Islam is a little bit different than. I don't know. Maybe you know something I don't know. As far as like the Druze thinking that the Israelis, those who migrated from Europe, are actually the lost tribe of Judea or whatever, or of Judah. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right, Doctor. Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay. When you start talking about the Lebanese people, it's a little bit complicated, and also it's a little bit complicated when you talk about those different people at different times. They very much, those who are allied today may not necessarily be allies tomorrow. So it's just a different story over there. Are we still continuing? What are they telling you? Maybe someone needs to come here and tell me what's going on. Maybe we are doing something wrong. Can you guys just come from the back and tell me? That's okay. We got used to very much trying to figure out what's going on. What's that? Are we doing what we're supposed to do here? Are you using these numbers? And well, it's not supposed to go to a fax. What about the cell phone? Okay. Well, here, there's another copy. Maybe this copy will just keep going, until we figure out what's going on. Because I did talk to him using that same paper that's in your hand. So let's go ahead and try to call him again and figure out what's going on there. Let's see. Maybe I can send him an email. Maybe he's waiting on us too. All right, here we go. Where are you? We are calling. Is everything okay? Here we go. So let's see. Hopefully he is on his internet and he will hear us. Okay. Well, let's see. Cindy Sheehan. Let me tell you what she said. She said, now, of course, she left the movement. She wants to go home and become a normal person. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people are frustrated, especially those of us in the truth movement. We think that we have given the American people every bit of information they need to rise up, and we're getting frustrated. And by the way, she's not the first one to leave. She's probably the most visible one to actually leave and give up, just throw her hands up and say, I give up. Now, this is what she said. I have been wondering why I'm killing myself and wondering why the Democrats caved in to George Bush. Sheehan told the Associated Press by phone Tuesday while driving from her property in Crawford to the airport where she planned to return to her native California. In what she described as a resignation letter, Sheehan, that is Cindy Sheehan, wrote in her online diary on the Daily Kos, K-O-S blog. She said, "Goodbye, America. You are not the country that I loved, and I finally realized no matter how much I sacrifice, I cannot make you be that country unless you want it. It's up to you now." Sheehan began a grassroots organization. Of course, you know all that stuff. She said, "I have endured a lot of smear and hatred since Casey was killed." Casey, that's her son, who was killed on April 4th, 2004. That's 444 for Cindy. Especially since I became the so-called face of the American anti-war movement. On Memorial Day, she came to some heartbreaking conclusions. She wrote, she said, "I guess no one paid attention to me when I said that the issue of peace and people dying for no reason is not a matter of right or left, but right or wrong," she said. She criticized blind party loyalty as a danger, no matter which side it involved, and said that the current two-party system is corrupt. That is the Democrats and the Republicans. And rapidly descending into, with nary a check or balance, a fascist corporate wasteland. I happen to agree with that. She had said that she had sacrificed a 29-year marriage and endured threats to put all her energy into stopping the war. What she found, she wrote, was a movement that often puts personal egos above peace and human life. But she said the most devastating conclusion she had reached was that Casey did indeed die for nothing. That's her son. Killed by his own country, which is beholden to and run by a war machine that even controls what we think. Casey died for a country which cares more about who will be the next American Idol than how many people will be killed in the next few months, while Democrats and Republicans play politics with human lives. She wrote, "It is so painful to me to know that I bought into this system for so many years, and Casey paid the price for that allegiance. I failed my boy, and that hurts the most. I'm going to take whatever I have left and go home." Ladies and gentlemen, that was what Cindy Sheehan said on Monday. And I received emails from other people. One of them said, "Please take me off your list, my email list." And I did. Then he sent me another email saying, "It's nothing against you, but I give up. I don't want to hear anything about the war. I give up and I accept anything that comes down. If we are in a fascist state, if we are in a dictatorship state, I came up with the conclusion that there is nothing I can do about it, so I accept it because I cannot defeat it." This particular man feels that the system is so huge that no matter what we do as truth seekers, it will not make a difference. I tend to agree with him, and I tend to agree with Cindy Sheehan, but I don't agree with him with stopping the fight and throwing the towel. No. We must continue to keep on and push on. We cannot stop now. I understand you might feel that nothing is changing, but this is a seed that we are planting, and things don't happen overnight, and things didn't happen. What we must do is continue bringing the truth to the American people, continue pushing the mainstream media, continue writing to the mainstream media that they've got to get in on our side, or at least be neutral, because they are not. These are the same people who are in bed with the politicians, and they are the same people who are in bed with corporate America that is fueling this nonsense and senseless war. We've got to continue. We cannot stop. We cannot give up. It has to be a determination from the people that we want life and liberty. And if we do, destiny will always answer with yes. If the people want life and liberty, that will be their destiny. There's no question about it. There is no power over the power of people. No power over the power of people. Don't give up. Cindy Sheehan wants to go home and find herself. That's fine. She did an important job. She brought the issues to you. Maybe some of you don't agree with her. I definitely did not agree with some of the stuff that she was saying and some of the stuff that she was doing. But that's life. That's America. That's why we have to learn how to live with each other, how to exist with each other. To all my friends in the truth movement, keep the fight on. Don't give up. I myself, those thoughts have crossed my mind so many times. But then, because when I look at what's going on outside, I think what we're doing is not going to make much difference, but it will. It will. We've got to continue with this fight. We've got to continue pushing on, because that's the only way to protect America. You want to protect the country? That's one way to protect the country. We've got to protect the country from the people that are taking this country and destroying it. And they're not overseas. They're here. Protect the country from foreign and domestic enemies. Most of our fight, ladies and gentlemen, is with the domestic enemies. That's where most of our fight is. You know, George Bush, with this particular directive that we spoke about earlier, it's very much, and you can go on the internet, check it out. They're not hiding it. But I'm surprised why mainstream media did not mention much about it. It's called the National Security and Homeland Security Presidential Directive. The National Security and Homeland Security Presidential Directive. Like I said earlier, it was signed on May 9th, 2007. This month, 20 days ago. It declares that in the event of a catastrophic event, George W. Bush can become what is best described as a dictator. So we will have King Bush, very much. The president shall lead the activities of the federal government for ensuring constitutional government. Look how the wordings that they says, the president shall lead the activities of the federal government for ensuring constitutional government. Of course, mainstream media did not say much about it, and Congress did not say much about it. Now, what it says is the directive establishes a comprehensive national policy on the continuity of federal government structures and operations, and a single national continuity coordinator responsible for coordinating the development and implementation of federal continuity policies. This policy establishes national essential functions, prescribes continuity requirements for all executive departments and agencies, and provides guidance for state, local, territorial, and tribal government and private sector organizations in order to ensure a comprehensive and integrated national continuity program that will enhance the credibility of our national security posture and enable a more rapid and effective response to end recovery from a national emergency. Well, all that language looks nice, but in case of a catastrophic event, very much the one who will be in charge of defense is Michael Chertoff, the Homeland Security. And I know we do have some graphics that we can probably show, so people will see who Michael Chertoff is. He will very much become the director. Well, he is the director of security, but he will be in charge of security, and anything he says, it will go. What boils down, ladies and gentlemen, with this National Security Homeland Directive is very much that all powers, federal, state, local, tribal, that's the Indians, the American Indians, and even private corporations will very much be in the hands of one man, the President of the United States, and Michael Chertoff, who will be acting on behalf of the President. Now, if we told you who Michael Chertoff is before, Michael Chertoff is very much, he's an Israeli. That's just flat. His mother an Israeli. His mother is Jewish. He is Jewish. And it's a very complicated thing. It's a very complicated thing. The defined catastrophic emergency means any incident, regardless of location, any incident, regardless of location, that results in extraordinary levels of mass casualties. But they did not define what mass casualties is. 20 people, 100 people dying? Could that be considered a mass casualty? Damage? They're not defining what damage is. Is a building falling, like the Oklahoma Murray building? Is that considered damage? One of the bridges? Or disruption severely affecting the United States population? Like what? Like what? Maybe financial, stock market? That would severely affecting the U.S. population. An environmental issue? Katrina comes to mind. So, infrastructure is one of those items. Environment, economy, or government functions. Or government functions. Now let's see, what could disrupt a government function? Do they know something we don't know, ladies and gentlemen? Why come up with something like this directive to put all powers in the hand of the President? when we don't have any of these, what they talked about in here happened. Just like the Terrorism Act that President Clinton signed, it was written 6 months before the Oklahoma bombing took place. What are we to expect in the next 6 months, ladies and gentlemen? What bothers me, I'm going to read it again because this is extremely important. They defined catastrophic emergency as, it means any incident, regardless of location, that results in extraordinary levels of mass casualties, damage, or disruption severely affecting the United States population, infrastructure, environment, economy, or government functions. Which means, if we have a problem with a government function, then the president can step in and decide. Okay? Do you understand what this all means? And by the way, we do have a system already in place. We have a system already in place even if the whole leadership is gone, decapitated. We have another government ready to step in. We always had that. Well, maybe not always, but we've had that for a long time. And they define government functions. It means the collective functions of the heads of executive departments and agencies as defined by statute, regulation, presidential direction, or other legal authority. Let me repeat. Government functions means the collective functions of the heads of executive departments and agencies as defined by statute, regulation, presidential direction, or other legal authority, and the functions of the legislative and judicial branches. Are you all getting all this, or you're not? Let me repeat it again. Let me repeat it again. Government functions. That's what the president will have powers over. And remember, in the first paragraph, I told you that it will have that the president will have the power over federal, state, local, and tribal. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, that every local policeman and every state agency and every, of course, federal is already federal, every tribal agency, every private corporation that has anything to do with government or civil service or civic service will be under the direction of the president in case of a catastrophic event. And they define catastrophic event as any incident regardless of location. It could be in Hawaii, could be in Alaska, could be in Oklahoma City, could be anywhere, could be overseas. That would have an effect on the American people. So all we are waiting for is a catastrophic event that would result in the death of many people, or damage to property, or disruption severely affecting the United States population, infrastructure, environment, economy, or government functions. So even if we get another hurricane, that's it. The governor of the state cannot decide if the president decides that he wants to exercise this presidential directive that he already signed May 9th. We will not have the privilege of our governor here bickering with the federal government, because the president will decide. Everyone will be federalized. The National Guard, state police, local police, they will all be federalized. That's what happens in a dictatorship. That's what happens in regimes like communism. In China, that's exactly what happens in China. In Cuba, that's what happens. Well, I'm told that we can't get hold of him. And so we will see. Maybe during the break we might be able to catch him, because we only have like 10 minutes left in this first hour. So we will try to speak with him. And by the way, if anyone from the local people here would like to volunteer, please give us a call. I haven't even seen the phone number on the screen, not even once. Can we put the phone number in the on the screen, the call-in number, please? And in the second hour, we'll continue. Don't have guests in the second hour, so if we don't get Khalid in the second hour, we were just going to have to continue. And I would love to hear from you. Tell me what you think, your ideas, your opinion about this national security homeland directive that President Bush had signed. What I was saying, if anyone from the local community would like to volunteer for the show, we will be glad to have you. It's fun. We will teach you everything you need to know. We will teach you how to run one of these cameras. We'll teach you how to work inside the what we call the booth in the back, where you will get to put a lot of graphics on, which looks like we having a problem putting graphics on, and even a phone number. We'll figure out, maybe we can do better in the second hour. But if anyone would like to, you can go on our website and send us a message, or call the station here. The number is 337-232-4434, and we will help you. We'll get back with you, and maybe if you hit that F9 functions, it might throw it on the screen after you write it. So that's probably what's happening back there. So if anyone is interested, we'll teach you how to do it, and how to get us on the air with because we are short-handed right now. Practically lost half of my crew. For the next 2 months, we will be short-handed. And by the way, in the next season, which will start on in July, we're going to be going to 2 days. We will be on for Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 hour at a time, which will work just fine for us, I think. Now, the times, I believe it's probably the same time on Tuesdays, and I think 8 o'clock on Thursdays, and that way we will reach different audience. We'll come to you twice a week instead of once a week. So when that happens, we definitely will be needing some help from you, because that means we have to double up the crew that we have. And remember, the crew here is all volunteers. Probably some of you might wonder how we put this show on the air. Sometimes it's very difficult. It does take time for research, so if you would like to volunteer in the research department, we can set you up. Now, for the research department, you don't have to be a local. You could be actually anywhere in the world. Or you might want to volunteer as a guest recruiter, which means you go on, you search what topics we want to talk about, or if you know somebody that we need to interview. Just basically, it's very simple. You decide on who you want us to interview, and we will work with you on that. And you can do this from anywhere in the world. Right now, with emails and etc., etc., we can communicate just like we are in the same town. But for the studio here, we do need your help, and we wish that we would get some calls from people. The number again is 337-232-4434, extension 207. Extension 207. So it's 232-4434, extension 207. And just leave your name and number with the producers who answer the phone, and we will get back with you. So, or if you know anyone, especially students who are in the broadcast majors or whatever, we would love to hear from you. Okay, I'll tell you what, I have Dr. Frederick Tobin from Australia calling. Dr. Tobin.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Not too badly. I see that your commentary is running dry.
Well, it's as a matter of fact, we had Khalid Omara, who was with Al Jazeera, and he was supposed to be on, but apparently there's a problem in Hebron because we can't even get hold of him now. Even though I just talked to him like 2 hours ago, and he's waiting for us, so I don't know.
Of course, Murdoch bought, apparently Murdoch bought Al Jazeera.
Well,
Familiar with the history.
well, yes. That was one of the things I wanted to talk to Khalid about, because he's an insider, and he did write an excellent article that some of these people who are pro-Zionist, pro-Israel, have gotten on top of Al Jazeera, the English channel, and also Al Jazeera Net. And he's naming names. So I guess we're going to try to get him. If not, if we don't get him this week, we will try to get him next week and find out what the problem is, because he really wants to come on and talk about this, unless he received some phone calls to not go on and talk about Al Jazeera. I don't know.
Most likely. This does happen, but there are still people who have the courage to break through and say their bit, just like you.
So tell me, Dr. Tobin, what is going on with you down in Australia?
Oh, nothing much at the moment. I am before the federal court, and my old friend Jeremy Jones is claiming that what we've got on our website is in contempt of court. I am not allowed to mention certain things, and a court order specifically stated that I'm not allowed to doubt the Holocaust. I'm not allowed to doubt the existence of the gas chambers, and I'm not allowed to question the 6 million number. But since the December Tehran conference, this is of course now all in the public domain. And that will be very difficult for a judge to look at and decide whether I intentionally or not breached this order.
I see. And did you?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I didn't, because I'm skirting around the issue by quoting others who actually say what I'm not allowed to say. And as you know, with my little disclaimer on the front page of our website. But the problem is that it's very difficult to get a lawyer to do this case, because they very much will then be tainted in defending so-called Holocaust denier. And some of I have one lawyer, but he himself is worrying about his situation because he is also before the court, and that matter will be decided by the end of June,
Well,
whether he can actually act for me or not. So
you know,
until the end of June, I am reasonably clear of any immediate pressure. But once we move into July, this is then where the paperwork has to be developed and handed up, and then most likely, as you note from my emails, they're getting fewer and fewer because I haven't got any time. It's a lot of paperwork, this legal matter. You know, you can kill a man in two ways. One is by shooting him outright, and the other is dragging him through the courts. And most revisionists know this, that this is why we shy away from initiating any legal action, certainly we haven't got the money to do it in the first place, but secondly, it just ties you up too much.
now, Dr. Tobin, we only have a couple of minutes left, but I mean, your attorney, or to be, if he decides he wants to, I mean, they look at what happened with the attorneys of Ernest Zundel in Germany, because two of his attorneys are, I don't know if they were indicted or charges were brought against them because they defended Ernest Zundel.
Yes, they tried to defend in Germany. Of course, you're not allowed to say anything that is contrary to what the dogma states. For example, Germa Rudolph did not sum up in his court case. He did not sum up at the end, and by not doing that, he received a life sentence. Now, Ernst Zundel at the end did sum up and state that he wished to have an international commission looking into the Holocaust, and he says if it's found against what he believed in, he would then apologize to everybody concerned. Now that already indicates that he is doubting the matter, while Germa said nothing, so he was a good boy, and he got 2.5 years, while Zundel at the end was fighting till the end, saying, listen, I don't believe this, give me the proof, and then I will apologize. Mm-hmm. And so that's why Zundel got 5 years. So we are back in the witch trials. The matter, if you're in court, you're already guilty. What they decide on is whether you are contrite, whether you show remorse, and then they will kill you. If you don't show remorse, they will torture you beforehand and then kill you.
Very good, Dr. Tobin. That's all the time we have in the first hour. I appreciate your call.
Thank you, Dr. Tillawi.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that was Dr. Frederick Tobin from Australia, who saved the moment as I was running dry on my commentary. I can only say so much, but we'll be back in 4 minutes, and we will continue talking about this, and we'll like to hear from you. Call us, and we'll see how the second hour goes. We're going to try to get Khalid Amira, who used to work for